Center, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society, which serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Reverend Rev, floor is yours.
The floor. I want more than
the stage.
The stage.
The environment, the world.
Hey, happy birthday. Namaste and greetings, everybody. So let us breathe in this amazing goodness that today represents, simply because the all that is experiencing itself in, through, and as us right here and right now. How glorious it is to know that this divine magnificence that we call spirit, the universe, God, is right here, right now, breathing itself as us. And moving into today's message, the paradox of reaching higher. The paradox, let's be mindful of that, the paradox of reaching higher. How do we reach higher when there is nothing higher than what we already are? Breathe. In truth, it is not about reaching higher, because there is nothing to reach for or arrive at. We are already there. The work is to recognize this and to live from it. In doing so, we must ask, what is our growing edge personally and as a movement? How are we expanding our understanding and application of our principles to include the collective good of the planet? How are we being called to live, move, and have our beingness by pushing beyond our comfort zones? Because it's always about what we do. You know, it's about the work, because just thinking about it doesn't get you anywhere. You have to go through the process of awareness and action, awareness and action. So reaching higher, what are we reaching for? Like that's the big thing. What are we reaching for? We talk about reaching for enlightenment, reaching for more love, reaching for the brass ring, whatever the brass ring may be, promotion, a degree, a license, reaching for this thing. But what's doing the reaching? Because even if it's the ego doing the reaching, because the ego might believe that there is something external that validates us, the truth is, as Dorothy learned when Glenda told her, you had the power all along. From the very beginning. Like even before the cyclone brought you to Oz, that which you are seeking, home, oneness, unity, community, you had since the very beginning. So what are we reaching for? Well, pause and let's recognize, because Norm mentioned it a couple of times in his own way, and Jamie mentioned it a couple of times in his own way, and there's this idea that that which the divine is, that which God is showing itself in, through, and as each and every one of us. We are both the artist, God, and that which God creates of and from itself, the work of art. We are both and, not either or, both and. Pause and breathe and take that in, recognizing that the very hand of the universe is drawing itself, singing itself, living itself as each and every one of us. and everything there is, because there can be nothing outside of what God is, what the universe is. There is only what it is. So when we talk about reaching higher, let us be very clear that we are not following the concept established by culture and society that makes us want to climb the rungs, climb up each rung, going higher and higher. For does we not know that eventually we're going to reach the top of the ladder and be like, hey, Tracy,
Yeah.
I'm at the top of the ladder.
Now what?
There's no, right now what? Exactly. Exactly. There's no more ladder because we're already there. Before ever stepping foot on any rung, before ever stepping on that first step that Dr. Martin Luther King refers to when he says, you don't need to see the whole staircase, simply the step that you are on. Well, recognize the step you are on, you're already there, right? You don't step on the next step until you evolve into that consciousness of knowing, wait a minute, there is no staircase. Like when I'm on the first step, that first step is the only step. And it's the only step I need to be concerned with. Ever evolving consciousness, right where I am. Living, moving, and having its beingness right where I am as me, as you, as all of us in this moment. Ernest Holmes says, we experience good and evil because we perceive a presence of duality instead of unity. So what is he referring to? In our culture and society, the way we live, move, and have our beingness as humans, this is what we do. We dualitize. We dualitize. Yes, it is in the dictionary now. We dualitize. Sorry, Sonya. We create this thing, this dichotomy, this paradox of, well, if there's high, there has to be low. If there's low, there has to be high. If there's young, there has to be old. If there's old, there has to be young. If there's good, there has to be bad, and vice versa, etc. We set up this idea, this duality, it's either or. But check this out. If I right now am 55 years old, to someone who is 95, am I not young? To someone who is 5, am I not old? I'm both and. It's not either or. So what we claim to be or live in a way, trying to strive to be something else because of this duality, simply breathe and be present with what is. Refrain from the rapid nature by which we tend to label either or, good, bad, right, wrong, etc., etc. What happens when we peel back the veneer of either or and opposites and breathe, don't judge, recognize it for what it is, and then do what is ours to do regarding it. See, because when we see ourselves as old, we start to behave in a different way. When we see ourselves as young, we behave in a different way. Think about the language we use when we talk about, you know, you're at that age now. We give cards that say funny things, including the joke that I said today about Tracy. Tracy's on Facebook, the before and after picture, right? But there are those, and that was in fun. Tracy actually laughed at that one. But there are those who give cards because they actually believe that once you reach a certain age, you are over the hill. Without recognizing that if I'm over that hill, there is yet another hill where I am young, infinitely and eternally. So Holmes says in another way, we know that the belief in duality, the belief in the power of good and the power of evil has contributed contributed to the destruction of humanity. And by itself, the understanding of oneness will heal humanity. Now let's pause, because humanity has not been destroyed, right? But in terms of what he's saying, when we look around us and we see the appearance of, the conditions of, the experiences of war, dis-ease, trauma, racism, sexism, when we see all of this, homophobia, when we see all of this destruction, the consciousness of othering, etc., then what is the thing that heals it? Oneness, unity, the understanding of and the living from that. Because for as long as we point the finger of that is the reason, does it resolve anything? Because when we do that, what we're doing is it's this or that. It's not both and. This is the cause, or that is the reason why. And then we separate, we divide, and we never step into, well, pause and breathe. What is the invitation to know in order to restore the truth into this situation? The truth always exists. God always exists. Love, harmony, oneness, and unity always exist. But in this moment, the experience is not demonstrating that. So what is the invitation that I am called to live based upon and act based upon, so that, what do we say? There is nothing that needs to be healed, only truth to be revealed, so that truth may be revealed. And sometimes that means having those challenging conversations, in the same way that going to the dentist, since Tracy mentioned flossing, since going to the dentist, sometimes there is pain or discomfort involved in having teeth that are healthy, having gums that are healthy. Sometimes going to the podiatrist to have surgery, and the discomfort related to that is what's needed so that healthy, capable, supple feet are the result. It's both and. It's not either or. We understand that the brain, two hemispheres, but there's one brain. We understand yin and yang, but technically it's yin yang. It is one. They are not separate energies or separate principles. It is both and. They are complements. So when we step into this idea of recognizing duality is also the idea of reaching higher to get something that you already have, to become that which you already are. We're already it, but we buy into the idea of needing to accumulate more to become better, smarter, faster. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na. Never mind. Yeah, exactly. $6 Million Man. Yes, Tracy. Oh, you got it. Yes. Part of this idea comes from, let's visit the Sistine Chapel. There's this idea that man, Adam, must forever reach for God. I am trying to reach for God. And God, in certain aspect, is reaching back to us. But there's a space. And that space is what we are doing our darndest to remove, so that there is contact. And yet, in truth, both God and Adam, both God and us, both God and all that is, are infinitely connected. There is no separation. There cannot be separation between what it is and what we are. There is only God, and it is incarnating itself as you right here and right now. And so when we anchor to that and recognize that, it changes the way we show up. Ernest Holmes says, note the italicized words. I put them in there, so they're not from Uncle Ernie. If we speak from the point of view of the Spirit, there can be no opposition to it. It is only when we completely abandon the human will and recognize the pure essence of spiritual principle embodied in us that our thinking rises above the belief in duality. So, y'all ready for the remix? The remix, care of Reverend Ray. Not if, it's when. When we speak from the point of view of Spirit, there can be no opposition to it. It is only when we completely integrate and utilize the human will as it is meant to be used and recognize the pure essence of spiritual principle embodied in, through, and as us, that our thinking is a conscious activity that collaborates with the belief in duality. See, it's not about giving up. It's not either or. We live in a world of space, separation. If I want to get from where I am in the studio to the kitchen, I have to realize kitchen is there, studio is here, and I move in that direction. But if I stand here like, oh, this is the kitchen, I'm not getting any cooking done. Oh, this is the bathroom. Tracy's going to say, get the mop. Because that's not here. Duality, space, time, and experience. So it's not about either or. It's about recognizing how to make duality work for us. Make the ego work for us. Not enemies, not opposition, but contrast that works for our highest and best good. Our thinking rises above our belief in duality. Well, then the question is, how do I rise above my belief in duality? How do I recognize right here and right now, even in the midst of there is me and there is Tracy, two separate, unique, individualized expressions of God are still only one, that which God is. Joel Goldsmith says, it is possible for anyone to change the trend of their life, not by hearing or reading truth, but by making it an active part of consciousness in daily experience until it becomes a habit every moment of the day instead of an occasional thought. When we make it an activity, a conscious activity throughout the day, like we breathe, a conscious activity throughout the day. Breathe that in. So for those of you who are Star Wars fans, you will remember the scene where Yoda moves the X-Wing fighter in the bog of Dagobah. And he says to Luke, do or do not, right? Do or do not. There is no try. Well, in our language, that says, treat and move. Treat and move. You want the X-Wing fighter to be from here to here? Then treat and let that which is the force engage it and move it. Whatever it is we want in our lives, how do we reach higher? How do we live higher? How do we, whatever that means? By doing it, by treating and moving our feet, not by trying to be, but by grounding and anchoring. How do any of us breathe more consciously when Norm said in the meditation and the spiritual practice, breathe in and out? Did we say, but Tracy, wait a minute, how do I breathe like Norm is breathing? I don't know how to do it. I need to take a class. Or did we simply pause and do it? John Kabat-Zinn says, make a list of what is really important to you. then embody it. Whatever your values are, embody them. Health, wellness, embody it. Creativity, embody it. Peace, unity, oneness, embody it. A sense of Zen, whatever that means for you, embody it. Be the living demonstration of it. See, we recognize that often we'll say things like, God loves you. No, God does not love you. There is, pause and breathe, God is love itself. God is love itself. So you must be the very incarnation of love made flesh. And because that is what you are, and that is what is loving as you, of course. That's like saying the sun shines itself. The sun shines. Love loves. We are that which we desire already. The question is, are we embodying it? Are we living from that awareness? To bring anything into your life, imagine that it's already there, according to Richard Bach. To bring anything into your life, imagine that it's already there. Whatever it is you want, imagine that it's already there. And I hear some of you already saying, imagine. What good is imagining? Well, according to Neville Goddard, the imagination is God. So Neville says, imagination and faith are the secrets of creation. He goes on to say, all things are made by your imagination, for without imagining, nothing is made. All things are made by your recognition that you are God. For without God, nothing is made. So when we imagine, we are invoking that divine principle of creation. So let's pause for a second, because the next couple of slides are specifically images of a particular person. But as you are looking at those images, I want you to bring to your own mind yourself. Okay? Here's somebody. What are you laughing about? When did this person become this person? At what point did he become whoever he is? Was it at birth? Was it some later time in his life? When did he become who he is? Or was he always who he always has been? In the same way, so pause and breathe on this one, because we could do this with anybody and everybody here. So Jamie Lula, as a baby, played the guitar? Probably, well, then again, knowing Jamie, yeah, Jamie may have, but let's assume, for the sake of conversation, let's say that Jamie didn't play the guitar as a baby. The infinite potential of musician, master teacher, divine presence on earth was already there. There was never a time when it was like, oh, I'm not this. What do I need to do to become that? It was there before birth, because that which God is, as each one of us, is infinite and eternal. So the moment God incarnates as us, that which it is as us is always present. We take classes and things to add spice to the meal. We do certain things, but it's already done. The cake is done. We add icing to spice it up. We add little sprinkles to spice it up, but it's already done. Nothing else needs to be added. Could he ever truly not be who and what he is? So from birth to martial artist, to being a father, to being a sibling, to being Spider-Man, was there ever a time in this person's life? I don't know how many of y'all know this person. I figured I'd grab some random guy. Is there ever a time in his life where he was not Is there ever a time in your life where you were not infinite, divine, perfect, whole, and complete? Has there ever been, could there ever be a time when that is not the truth of your being? No, because for that to be an untruth, for us to be missing something, for a degree to be the thing that makes us less than, for height to be the thing that makes us less than, weight, skin tone, sexual orientation, a degree, a certain skill, a certain relationship, whatever those external things are, none of them change the truth of who and what we are. Do we live from that truth? Deepak Chopra says, since consciousness is the foundation of reality, the possibilities for new thoughts, insights, and discoveries is unlimited. Infinite possibilities are part of our makeup. It's the innate part of, it's all that we are. Infinite possibilities and potentialities are part of our makeup. Events prove anything can happen. Living this life proves what is possible. How many times have we said things like, I don't know where that came from. It just showed up out of the blue. Like I wasn't even expecting it, and pow! Infinite possibilities are part of the makeup. But when we say out of the blue, we weren't really expecting, we weren't living from the consciousness of infinite possibilities. Events prove. So when I treat, when I pray, I have every expectation of answered prayer. When any practitioner treats, the expectation is the prayer is all, not it will be answered, it already is. When Jamie is stepping forward to grace whatever stage it is that he is stepping on, I'm sitting there like, I expect to be moved and inspired and filled with the gift. Not I will be. I'm living in this. It's like Christmas. I already know what Tracy bought me. I don't have it in my hands right now, but I'm already like, I'm getting ready to open it. I'm getting ready to eat tacos. I'm getting like whatever it is. Like I know I have it. It's already mine. Infinite possibilities are part of our makeup. It's who and what we are. So of course, events are going to prove it. Duality can bind us, or we can use it as a tool for greater awareness. When the contrast shows up, what is my invitation? What am I being called to pray regarding? How do I live, move, and have my beingness as one who is filled with the very energy of spirit, of God, of the universe? How do I demonstrate that I am already awakened? Because each one of us already is. You are an awakened one. You already are it, because God cannot go to sleep. God cannot be unaware. God cannot, oh man, where did I put that mountain? Everest, Everest, Yokohama, man, Pacific Ocean, oh man, why am I always, hey, Jesus, do you know where I put Mount Fuji? You don't know either, man. Right? Tracy's laughing at me. You already are it. Our invitation in this moment is to live from this space of being awakened. In the Matrix, the spoon boy, he is commonly referred to, says to Neo, do not try and bend the spoon. That is impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no spoon. There is no separation. There is nothing to reach for. Why? Because you're already there. There is no spoon. Then you will see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself. It is not the space that is crunched or reduced. It is you that changes in your realization and understanding and conscious living of. There is no spoon. There is no space where God is not. There is no absence of the divine in you, as you, through you, and throughout all. This is the practice, to see and use duality to our benefit by being conscious and aware of the truth of oneness and the reality of duality. Aware of the truth of oneness and the reality of duality. Duality or contrast is a necessary part of this experience. We need not become addicted to it, obsessed with it, or oppressed by it, because we can use it. This week's exercises for greater practice. What are some things that you seek or strive to get, be, do, or have? Journal them. What are some things? Are you striving to get a degree, a license, a certain contract, a CD deal, a new house, a new relationship? What is it that you are seeking to be healthier, to be wealthier, whatever it is? What are you seeking? What are some things that you desire to attain? What practices will you engage in to see yourself from the awareness of both and in relation to attaining your goals? You desire a degree, and there is that infinite possibility, infinite potentiality that you are already whole, perfect, and complete, even while not having the degree. The degree is simply an added thing. You put on a jacket. The jacket isn't you. The makeup isn't you. There are things that you add to what you already are. The degree does not determine who and what you are any more than that jacket determines who you are, or those shoes determine who you are. You are whole, perfect, and complete. And then have a conversation with cuatro personas about the following: the concept of already being sacred, divine, holy, enlightened, magnificent, abundant, and capable. What are the challenges that you specifically have with duality? What does it mean to utilize duality in the same way that one uses a spatula, a hammer, a keyboard, or a pencil? And when Holmes said, the understanding of oneness will heal humanity, for you, what does this look like as a practice that you can engage in? And as always, if you ever want copies of the slides, simply email Tracy and/or I, and we will make sure you get them, because I know some of you are furiously jotting down notes to copy this or screen capturing it. You don't need to. Just send us an email. We'll make sure you get it. Today's affirmation and declaration, if you feel so aligned to it, I will say it first, then together. I believe in myself. I believe in God. I believe as God. Together. I believe in myself. I believe in God. I believe as God. Breathe. Breathe, people, breathe. Breathe in that delicious goodness of knowing that in this moment we are breathing as God. God is breathing as us. That our thoughts are God's thoughts. Our lives are God living this life, incarnating itself in, through, and as each and every one of us. And at this moment, we simply close out knowing that that which God is making and demonstrating this joyful noise, this beautiful and powerful light, that it is in, through, and as each and every one of us. That it is not possible for us to be any less godly, any less divine, any less perfect. That even in our living, moving, and having our beingness in this human body, we're still whole, perfect, and complete. We breathe and we receive the love, the joy, the goodness that the universe is in every cell of our being, in every muscle, every fiber, every bone, every molecule. It is living, moving, and having its illuminated, ever shining brightly light, joyfully making a noise unto creation as we walk the walk, being God on earth. We breathe and we allow that to ground us. And service, this thing we call service, comes to an end, but service to humanity continues. Namaste and blessings, and so it is. Love y'all.